My name is Justin Latimer, and I'm going to show you a battle replay. This time I'm playing as Macedon, and the battle map here is Southwater. Southwater has these farms and this farmhouse, or manor. It looks like a pretty wealthy residence in the middle of the map. And what this does is it divides the battlefield. You can put all of your troops on this side, you could put all of your troops on this side, you could put all of your troops in the middle. I did fight a guy once who made a noob box right in here. Very annoying. The opponent I'm playing against this time is playing as the Britons, so it should be a pretty interesting matchup. We have 2 units of Macedonian cavalry with my general here. I brought 4 archers. They have upgrades on them. And my infantry force, which is also upgraded, is composed of Royal Pikemen. 4 units of Royal Pikemen. I've also brought 2 units of Light Lancers hidden in the cavalry in the forest here. They've got some upgrades. Free experience on each of them. And they are backed up with some Peltasts, who I've moved to rejoin the main army. So what should be interesting about this battle is the Macedonians, of course, rely heavily on a lot of pike-armed troops. And I have them supported with missiles and good cavalry. The Britons, on the other hand, are a barbarian faction, and they rely mostly on skirmishing troops, slingers. They have good swordsmen, and they've also brought the head hurlers. And the reason why head hurlers are a fictional unit is Celtic head hurlers would never throw a prized head because a head was a very valuable trophy. Although it is true that on occasion they did throw heads to unnerve their opponents. But they weren't a formal unit in the army. But that's Rome Total War for you. He also has a barbarian warlord and chariots because that's what the Britons do. They have warlords and chariots. Chariots can be a little bit unnerving to fight. They can cause significant morale damage. There's their general. But they're also a little bit flighty. Their morale is far from perfect. He had another unit of chariots on this flank. Light chariots. These are armed with bows. And they're whittling down my general and his cavalry. Because I reacted to that skirmishing. Had I been able to catch them, I probably would have been able to wreck them, but I am not able to catch them. They're very quick moving. As they should be, as they have 2 horses driving them. And so, while the skirmishing is going on, I have made a pike line here. I'm not really worried about the opponent attacking me because I feel that my army is probably superior. The warlord has come here to help protect his light chariots. I would not like to engage both the light chariots and the warlord. So I'm going to pull back my cavalry. His light chariots follow, however. I'm just going to ignore them because I hit some light lancers, and they're fast-moving cavalry. They'll stand a much better chance of catching these guys than my general and his Macedonian cavalry. My general and my Macedonian cavalry, however, can wreak havoc on my opponent's infantry and skirmishers. Also, I haven't lost a lot of men. There's 44 men in this unit and 43 in this other one, and the standard cavalry unit has 54 men in it. My opponent is bringing up some skirmishers now. My archers are going to be able to tear them up pretty bad because archers do considerable damage at good range. And so my opponent has these light chariots back here. I'm just waiting for the right moment to pounce with my light lancers. I'm letting him get comfortable. I'm letting him think that I can't do anything against these. that's when I attack. My light lancers have a ton of attack, so they're going to be able to do quite a bit of damage really quickly against these chariots. The chariots are now routing, and I've done a pretty good job of mopping them all up right in the initial attack. There are no longer any light chariots, so my men are celebrating. Meanwhile, my heavy cavalry are engaged on with the enemy's barbarian warlord here. My light lancers will be able to assist, though. My archers are pretty much unmolested.
Your general shames himself. He ran. Your general now lies dead because of his foolishness.
My general's just gotten himself killed. Rather unfortunate, but I can't really do much about it. Chariots will sometimes win these battles against cavalry, sometimes they'll lose. All depends a bit on luck. So my light lancers are counterattacking against the chariots. I need to take those out. I need to maintain my cavalry dominance or my infantry is going to be in trouble. One unit of the chariots routs. Another unit is still fighting. I'm just sending my cavalry up this way to assist with the main army. My pikemen will do pretty good against this barbarian infantry. He did a really good move here where he has me flanked. My royal pikemen are fighting one unit of swordsmen and getting attacked from the back by another. But this unit of pikemen over here is holding up pretty good. It's at least deployed correctly. The barbarian warlord is chasing my cavalry. My peltasts are here firing. My archers are back here, able to fire still. The light lancers are going to hit these swordsmen. Light lancers are very valuable cavalry if you know how to use them correctly, due to the high damage they have. Thickened up with these Macedonian cavalry, they'll do really good against this opponent. I'm going to carry on to attack against these guys as well. I'm trying to get a chain route. This pike unit over here has gotten itself isolated. It's now going to rout. So one thing you have to look out for when you're fighting against a barbarian army. Barbarian armies are untidy. It's easy to get untidy as well. And if you do that, you will lose against a barbarian army, so you need to be careful. He's going to try to attack my archers. My archers are pretty quick on their feet though, so I think I can reform them. This unit routes as the barbarians get too close. Lots of little charges with my cavalry. As I still have cavalry, this is quite useful for me. It gives me flexibility that the opponent no longer has. My peltasts have run out of javelins. They've done a good job of supporting the phalanx. A lot of people don't bring javelins of any sort, but I think they can be useful sometimes. They also have some upgrades, which makes them more useful, a little bit more accurate. They do a little bit more damage. They might hang out in the game a little bit longer. These royal pikemen are doing pretty good against these swordsmen. These swordsmen now rout. I'm sending my peltasts to chase down these routers. Peltasts are pretty quick on their feet. They can occasionally be good for chasing down routers. My opponent still has some slingers left, and they're doing a pretty good job of annoying me. With what's left of my army, I'm trying to reform, make a somewhat respectable show of force here. I still have quite a few archers. My archers could of course outrange slingers. And my cavalry are good at keeping the routers routing. Just 3 units of just 3 light lancers right now. These peltasts are going to carry out a charge against these head hurlers. I'm also charging with my royal pikemen because I do not want to spend all day chasing these slingers. The faster I can get to them, the better. I'm also moving my archers because I want to get a better vantage point. And there's a better hill right here. This hill will also help me fight against guys who are reforming back here. I'm also going to bring up my peltasts to guard my back. Peltasts are not a particularly great unit to guard anything. But since we're fighting barbarians and specifically a skirmisher unit, headhunters, I'm not particularly worried about their combat abilities, although I do believe their combat abilities are slightly better than my peltast. My archers are mainly focused on the head hurlers right now. They probably should have been shooting at the slingers. The slingers are not in range right now. But they're going to get closer. They're going to get in range. If you're not careful, slingers can take down archers. So my peltast and my cavalry have finished off the head hurlers back there. I'm going to call them back up. They're going to be pretty tired. But I need every last man I have. My royal pikemen are down here protected. They will not be able to be attacked by the slingers. My archers, on the other hand, have a decent vantage. It could be better. As you can see, the hill obstructs my line of sight a little bit, but I do have quite a few archers. I'm going to bring them back up so that they can have a better line of sight against the slingers. They are really close to the slingers, which isn't good, but I will be able to see them and I will be much more accurate against them. And the slingers are pulling back anyways. So with their back exposed to me, I should be able to take quite a few of them down. They're also moving up to this hill here. Good move for self-preservation, but it's not really going to do anything. The battle is essentially over at this point. I believe some of my archers are getting low on arrows. I'm also trying to stretch them out so that they'll be able to fire from more than one direction, which will do a whole lot more damage and expedite the death of these slingers. You can see quite a few arrows in the sky right now. I've got the slingers flanked. They're getting hit from the front and the sides. I do believe they carry a little shield, but the little shield probably doesn't give them much protection against missiles. They're also not wearing shirts. I could have switched the archers to flaming arrows, which would do morale damage. As these men are shaken, now wavering, that could have been a very good idea. Usually I don't use flaming arrows though, because I just like to get lots of kills. And regular arrows are much quicker. I believe I ran out of arrows now, so I'm going to have these 2 light lancers, very brave fellows, attack these slingers here. And you can see these light lancers have proven their worth because they're the only cavalry still left in the game, and just 2 of them were able to rout what was left of the enemy army. So I deployed 1,125 men against 833, so I did have higher numbers. I also have higher kills, 741 against 645. Men remaining, I have 544 men remaining. My opponent has 86 men remaining. Let's look at some of the statistics here. General's Armored Bodyguard, casualties inflicted 6, and Macedonian Cavalry 16 and 18. So unfortunately my heavy cavalry did not prove incredibly useful in this battle, probably because they got tangled up into a fight with his warlord. He had brought 2 units of barbarian warlord and chariots, and chariots can be unpredictable. If you have heavily upgraded cavalry, you can usually take on chariots one-on-one and win every time. However, I do not believe that my cavalry was as upgraded as chariots, so they could be a bit of a wild card. I did lose that battle. The light lancers, on the other hand, have taken down 99 and 74. That is really good for a light cavalry unit. Light lancers are a very good unit, especially because they're light cavalry and prone to being underestimated. Royal pikemen 6, 93, 27, and 10. One of my units of royal pikemen with 93 kills has proven itself very useful. Archers 78, 99, 84, and 85. So all of the archers were very useful. That's a ton of kills. And the Peltast took down 46. So in this particular battle, the Peltast were very useful. So my opponent, Medicodo, he told me that he was not used to playing as the Britons. This was one of his first battles as the Britons. So I would like to point out that he did a pretty good job with his strategy. He was able to break up my phalanx here, and his skirmishing was also pretty good. My light lancers took care of his light chariots pretty well, but his barbarian warlord took care of my general and his heavy cavalry very well. He was also pretty good at skirmishing and persistence, and those are some of the things you need to be very good at to win as the Britons. The Britons are primarily a hit-and-run faction. The Macedonians can wield a pretty clearly intended army. These royal pikemen are not a very subtle soldier. They stand shoulder to shoulder, they take up a large amount of space on the battlefield. They're very scary to attack head-on. They're not too good on the flanks or from the back. But the Macedonian army has a very clear intent to advance and crush the enemy. And if your cavalry can protect the backs of your phalanx and the sides of your phalanx, it's probably going to win. Medicodo did a good job of breaking up my troops, though. So good game to my opponent. Thank you for watching. I will have more videos for you soon.